I'm Melina Hale, the Dean of the College, and my dear class of 2025, family and friends, it is my privilege to welcome you to Class Day, where we honor our graduating students. This is a momentous day for our seniors, as well as for those who have encouraged them all along the way. Congratulations. Now, students, we are so excited for you, and we are delighted in these special days of Class Day and Convocation to be celebrating you, your time in the college, and your accomplishments here. When you entered the college, you might remember opening Convocation and the Aims of Education address, where we reflected together on what it meant to pursue higher education, particularly as a Maroon. We were grappling with the pandemic in those years, and even in times of real uncertainty, it was right to step back and consider the rewards of liberal learning and knowledge for its own sake. I cannot say that the times now are any more certain, but I do know that you have absorbed those messages about learning and made them your own in ways you probably could not have anticipated then. In the last 2 years, I've had the joy of meeting many of you and hearing your ambitions, your experiences, and insights about the college, our college, and the many ways that you are applying your UChicago education to the world. I've heard about the character and accomplishment of many more of you, proudly shared by faculty and advisors, by peers and parents. You've demonstrated curiosity and dedication in learning, thoughtfulness about the world, caring and advocacy for your friends, and drive for discovery and knowledge that is inspiring. We've watched as you've worked wholeheartedly with a generosity of spirit and some simple fun as well. Pursuing knowledge is a kind of labor that adds to a flourishing life, a gift to yourself and to others. I know your own dedication to learning will continue, for some in the classroom and for all beyond classroom walls. Together with the faculty and staff of the college, I am so proud of you and so confident in your future and what you're bringing to the world. Class of 2025, this is the first of several celebrations. We are especially excited for tomorrow, when we'll gather on the quads again back here, but this time in our caps and gowns and regalia to confer your degrees and recognize you as graduates of the college. We hope you enjoy this special time on campus. Now, I will turn it over to our Class Day Masters of Ceremony, Anushka Bansal, Chad Cohen, and Olivia Song, to introduce our speakers.
Families, friends, faculty, and graduates, it is my privilege to welcome you on this beautiful Chicago afternoon to Class Day, celebrating the class of 2025. My name is Anushka Bansal.
Good afternoon, my name is Chad Cohen.
And my name is Olivia Song. Anushka, Chad, and I are all in the class of 2025 and of Maroon Key Society, and we will serve as your MCs for today's ceremony.
It is time to begin our graduation weekend by celebrating our annual tradition of Class Day. Class Day celebrates all the experiences and learning that our class has lived through, both on campus and all over the world during our time at UChicago. Today's program will include reflections from our class of 2025 student speakers, the presentation of faculty and student awards, and a keynote address from David Axelrod.
It is now time to hear from our class of 2025 student speakers. First, we will hear from Helen Vu. Helen is graduating with a degree in economics and political science, in addition to a master's in international relations. She served president of the Chicago Debate Society, UChicago's competitive parliamentary debate team, among many other activities and leadership roles. Please welcome Helen to the podium.
Wow, it's a lot of people. Good afternoon. To start off, I want to admit something a little bit embarrassing. I am painfully directionally challenged. No, I'm completely serious. Even now, as a graduating senior at the ripe old age of 22 years old, I still rely on that little blue line on Google Maps to navigate around campus. Yes, after 4 years here, I could not point you to the exact location of Kent Lab. But as they say, a true UChicago education happens between destinations and not at them. And for someone like me, that's meant quite an education. So I've come to document each of my quarters here through a different blue route, each different from the last. Like many of you, my journey began over there at Cobb Gate. Do you remember how, as first years, we gazed tentatively down the quad, enveloped by a wave of maroon, and cheered on by unknown upperclassmen? Little could we imagine just how many times we would repeat that walk over the next 4 years. And as season changed, so did our ritual paths. In fall, we strolled through auburn leaves, sipping warm drip coffee from grounds of being. In winter, we admired twinkling lights strewn across frosty branches while watching lopsided snowmen smiling up at us from the midway. And on the first warm day each spring, the quad bursts with vitality. Picnics, spike ball, the occasional tree climber serve as our annual proof of life. These walks, with their infinite permutations, capture the boundless potential of a UChicago degree. We explore novel interests and trek into uncharted territory while making new discoveries about ourselves and those around us. Recently, to test this theory, I took a midnight promenade around campus, recounting the mosaic of memories etched into my mental map. There's Harper Library, somewhere back there, which has witnessed my highs, my lows, and a contentious new carpet change. There's Cobb Hall, where the debate team enjoys playing hide and seek, trying to dodge campus security after hours. And over there is Botany Pond, home to swimming ducks, and on this particular walk, swimming students as well. And finally, Saye Hall, where I once stood behind a Nobel laureate in a coffee shop while trying to calculate the optimal caffeine to sleep ratio. Unclear how successful that was. And this quad, the green marble we stand on, is the emblem of the UChicago experience. It is the life of the mind, a cerebellum linked by winding neural pathways and synapses. And like its well-traveled paths, we UChicago students are connected by shared experience. Every day, we find ourselves stopping in that center circle, whether greeting friends, sharing tidbits from class, or lamenting over another 200 readings of Hobbes's Leviathan. And now, in these final walks, I spot the faces of beloved friends, family members, and teammates, a collection of future scientists, pioneers, artists, and teachers who will touch countless lives just as they have touched mine. And more than any blue line, it was genuinely these people who were walking alongside me that showed me the way. And I've learned that the most meaningful experiences aren't always the ones that are the most direct. Life's detours, whether dodging Dean Boyer's expert bicycling skills down the quad or veering into late-night debates, have shaped me just as much as any formal class. And so with my last words, I urge you all, close your Maps app every now and then, and let's let ourselves be directionally challenged. We should gaze up from that blue line, because if there is one thing that UChicago has taught me, it is finding meaning in the detours. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Helen. Our next speaker is Dila Malcumova. Dila is graduating with a degree in economics and East Asian languages and civilizations. In addition to involvement with a number of RSOs on campus, Scavies in the audience may also recognize her from her time as a scav hunt judge. Please welcome Dila to the podium.
Thank you, Chad. To me, UChicago has always felt like a foggy construction site. When I first reflected on my experience, I felt like it was best defined by the idea of building bridges. When I thought about it for a little longer, I realized a bigger part was also crossing them. I think all of us here know that UChicago doesn't just teach you things. It transforms you into a kind of architect of thought. The core forces debates on Plato between a physics major and a pre-med, and makes a humanities nerd like me wrestle with statistics and feel just slightly betrayed when they end up liking it. I remember hearing my first year that UChicago doesn't have much of a school spirit. But UChicago student is a polymath. They're forced to find ways to bridge their passions to the new methods they learn. I've come to think that what people mistake for the absence of spirit is really just its refusal to fit into easy categories. The whole spirit of UChicago is that of a paradox, a place where an artsy finance bro is found building a nuclear reactor as a scaf item, constantly uncovering newer and newer parts of themselves. No one here is quite the same person they were when they once arrived as a freshman, especially given COVID, a time that forced all of us to adapt in ways we didn't expect. And maybe that's what makes this bridge metaphor so fitting. We're always crossing into something uncertain, into versions of ourselves we couldn't yet imagine. And somehow, look around, we made it. Even when we couldn't see the other side, we kept going, together. Now, some of you may know I spent a lot of time at Bridge Club, you know, the card game for old people. So I'd like to think I know a thing or two about bridges. And yet, I still believe that most of us would agree that despite crossing this one with our graduation, the final destination is still somewhat dim. And strangely, that is okay with me. As they say, the best part has been the walk, especially because I got to walk it with all of you. What's more, as I rush from a card tournament to host Tea Club or try to come up with a finance-related item for SCAV, I know for sure that some freshman somewhere at UChicago is completing the same walk in our footsteps, puzzling together seemingly unrelated pieces of themselves. And they'll do it here at UChicago in the only way UChicago allows, curiously, chaotically, and wholeheartedly. Somewhere between a rec cubicle and a networking event, each new generation of UChicago students is letting their mind wander in the most unpredictable of directions. That is the ever-elusive UChicago spirit. Amid many detours across bridges built between the craziest interests, if there is anything I learned from all of you, it's that the most meaningful identities aren't inherited or assigned. They're authored by us, here. Each of your unique pursuits has taught me how to turn curiosity into a blueprint. The only thing remaining is to find the courage to proudly walk the paths we carve for ourselves. But that part does not scare me. Being here today is proof that no matter the bridge and no matter the fog, each and every graduate has the courage to cross all the way. Thank you, and congratulations to all of us.
Thank you, Dalila. Now for our final speaker. I'll let our speaker share more about his name, but what I can tell you is he is graduating with a degree in computer science and economics, as well as a master's in computer science. Among his many accomplishments in the college was serving as a goalkeeper and captain on the Maroons men's soccer team that made school history with their NCAA title in 2022. Please let me welcome him.
UChicago, how are we feeling today? Yeah? Yeah? All right, all right. I'm gonna admit, I kept this a secret from my parents, so Mom, Dad, surprise. That's Dad over there. Good afternoon, friends, professors, fellow graduates, honored guests, and most importantly, family, to the UChicago 2025 Class Day. My name is, well, for a long time, my name was one of my biggest insecurities. Let me explain. I was born in Gujarat and named by my grandfather, D-H-I-R-P-A-L, one of great patience, which, if you know me, is a bit of a stretch. I spent most of my life growing up in Taipei, Taiwan, where my skin color, my height, and my name stood out. a little too much. I got used to the discrimination, but still, the last thing I wanted was to draw more attention to myself by correcting people's pronunciation of my name. Terrified and quiet, I spent 18 years answering to Dhirpal, Dear John, Dhirpal. Yes, really, Dhirpal. I carried those insecurities with me to Hyde Park, bracing for more of the same. But on my very first day here, someone asked me, gently and sincerely, well, no. How do you actually pronounce your name? So simple. Yet I realized something. For the first time, I wasn't being asked to fit in. I was being invited to belong. At UChicago, the differences that once made me anxious became the very things that made me feel seen. I soon found that I wasn't alone. Everyone here had something that set them apart. And here, those differences weren't hidden, they were celebrated. Where else but UChicago would my co-captain also be someone I discuss quantum cancer research with? Right, Jack? Or a salsa performer who could debate political theory without skipping a beat. Friends from every corner of the world, united not by sameness, but by a shared passion for learning, questioning, and becoming. At UChicago, quirks are not a liability. They're your greatest asset. Success here isn't about fitting in, but about discovering who you are and having the courage to live that out loud. That's what this place truly gave me. Not the dream job, or the publications, or even the national championship, but the belief that who I am is enough. And it gave that to all of us, by pushing us, shaping us, and showing us that our differences aren't obstacles, but rather the foundation of everything we've ever achieved. And that matters, because the world we're entering doesn't just need talent. It needs people who lead with authenticity, who stand out, listen deeply, and make space for others to do the same. Classmates, as we leave this place, I hope we carry that spirit with us, to see uniqueness as a gift, to keep asking, who are you really? And to celebrate the answers. Because by embracing our own stories and lifting up those around us, we can build the future we need now more than ever. And if there's one thing I've learned, it's that we can't do this alone. I can't name everyone, but to my best friends from soccer, thank you for guiding me and leading me. To the friends off the field, my CS boys, my trivia team, the Onion Kings, thank you for making even the hardest weeks feel lighter. Tate, Dave, Janata, thank you for being my home or house away from home. Thank you, Nirali, for being the best big sister a little boy could ask for. Mom, Dad, for your endless love and belief in me. And to my grandfather, Dadaji, who gave me this name. Because today, with deep, deep gratitude for you all, I would like to say, my name is Derpal Sha, and I've never been prouder to be exactly who I am. Thank you.
Thank you, Dhirpal. Let's give another round of applause for our 2025 Class Day speakers, Helen, Dila, and Dhirpal. Now, let's welcome to the stage Dirt Red Band.
I remember when I lost my mind. my emotions in an echo in so much space, yeah. And when you're out there without a care, yeah, I was out of touch. But it wasn't because I didn't know, no. I just knew too much, yeah. 'Cause that make me crazy. 'Cause that make me crazy. 'Cause that makes me crazy. Possibly. And I hope that you are having the time of your life. Think twice, oh, that's my only advice, yeah. Come on now, who do you think you are? Ah, bless your soul. You really think you're in control? I think you're crazy. I think you're crazy. I think you're crazy, just like me. My heroes had the heart to the lies out on the list. And all I remember is thinking I wanna be like them, yeah. Ever since I was little, it looked like mine. And it's no coincidence I go, well, I can die when I'm gone, yeah. I think you're crazy, baby, you're crazy, baby, you're crazy, baby, I'm crazy, baby, you're crazy, baby, you're
Thank you, Dirt Red. Our Maroon athletes excel both in the classroom and in competition, consistently earning a plethora of honors every year. Throughout the university's history, its student athletes and teams have demonstrated that academic and athletic excellence can complement each other. Here today to recognize 3 outstanding student athletes is Angie Terrain, Director of Athletics and Recreation. Please join me in welcoming Angie to the stage now.
Good afternoon, and congratulations to the class of 2025. I can't believe I'm going behind Dhirpal, right? Like, come on, like, we're really, really proud of you, Derp, and thank you for all that you've done for the men's program and UChicago athletics. So this afternoon, I'm here to present the winners of the Amos Alonzo Stagg Medal. This medal has been presented annually since 1947. Our first Stagg Medal Award winner is Drew Bryan. Majoring in economics and political science, Drew is a member of the UChicago baseball team. Throughout Drew's remarkable career, he has been recognized as a two-time All-American, a two-time All-Region, a two-time Midwest Conference Pitcher of the Year. He ranks in the top 2 in school history with 18 wins, 232 strikeouts, and a 3.34 ERA. During the 2025 season, Drew was instrumental in leading the baseball team to its first ever NCAA postseason tournament. Congratulations, Drew. This year we had so many great athletes, we ended up having 2 Stag Medal winners. Our second Stag Medal winner is Thomas Kurowski. Thomas is an economics major and a member of the UChicago men's basketball team. Throughout his distinguished career, Thomas has been a 2-time All-UAA Conference selection. Thomas ranks in the top 10 in career points, steals, field goals made, three-point field goals made, and free throw percentage. In 2025, he was named All-Region and All-District and played an instrumental role in leading our men's basketball team to its first NCAA tournament appearance in 17 years. Congratulations, Thomas. Our next award is the Gertrude Dudley Medal. It is my pleasure to announce the winner of the Gertrude Dudley Medal Award. This prestigious award has been presented annually since 1977. Sylvia Mikos is this year's Gertrude Dudley Medal winner. Sylvia is a member of the women's tennis team and is also an economics major. She's an 8-time NCAA All-American, a 6-time UAA Conference First Team honoree, a 3-time UAA Conference champion, and also a member of a NCAA National Championship women tennis team. Her tennis team was the first women's NCAA tournament that we had won for the school here at the University of Chicago. Her talent and drive have led her to be named UAA Conference Player of the Year twice and to hold the #1 national rankings in singles for 2 consecutive years. This year, Sylvia led her team to the NCAA quarterfinals for the 4th NCAA postseason tournament appearance. The 2025 Gertrude Dudley Medal winner, women's tennis student athlete, Sylvia Mikos.
Let's give another round of applause to our Stag and Dudley Medal recipients. Now, please help me welcome to the podium members of the 2025 Senior Class Gift Committee.
Hi everyone, my name is Divya Mehrotra, and I'm pleased to be here to share a bit about the Senior Class Gift Program. I'm joined by my fellow committee members, Alec Visozo, Elise Korcheski, and Christine Balance. And like you, each of us have been profoundly impacted by the daily and ongoing commitment of students, alumni, and donors to sustain and enrich our UChicago community. Senior Class Gift is not just about philanthropy, it's about honoring the stories and people that have helped us grow. For me, that story is about rebuilding something. When I first arrived at the University of Chicago, the undergraduate law magazine had ceased to exist, and it wasn't possible to contact the former students or staff who had been involved in previous iterations of the magazine. Alongside Aya Hamza, who I consider to be a great friend, I worked to refound the magazine and turn it into a vehicle for sharing the insights of 80 student writers. I now serve as one of the executive editors and have chosen to honor the newly refounded magazine with my senior class gift. Prior to his arrival at the university, Alec had not traveled beyond the United States and the Caribbean. But thanks to Career Treks and the Foreign Language Acquisition Grant, FLAG, Alec has now visited companies and explored career opportunities across 4 continents. He's gone from Brazil to Spain and India to Qatar. Thanks to the donor-funded FLAG program, which he has honored with his senior class gift, Alec counts his summer living and working in Rio de Janeiro as the experience that was most influential in determining the trajectory of his ongoing studies. But exploration doesn't just mean leaving the country. Elise was inspired to join this committee because of the personal development she has undergone, thanks to the wide variety of opportunities and experiences she's enjoyed here on campus. Elise is emerging from her time in the college more driven, curious, and resilient than she had previously believed herself to be. She credits this internal evolution to the variety of roles that she has held within Mayhouse and Max P, the Pritzker School of Molecular Engineering, and the Biological Sciences Division. Elise feels strongly that the gifts of both time and money, which have been graciously shared by the class of 2025, will reinforce the university's strong academic and social culture, allowing future students to thrive. For Christine, a first-generation and low-income student, the dream of attending a school like the University of Chicago felt unattainable, until she was invited to be an Odyssey Scholar. She compares resources like the scholarship and Metcalf grants to life jackets for students who would otherwise struggle to stay afloat financially. Since her arrival, Christine feels that she's become a more well-rounded version of herself. She's learned to advocate for herself and her needs during treks, worked in research labs, and attended lectures on the ethics of her chosen career. She touts her experience on the Interhouse Council as one of the most formative of her time here. Under the guidance of Heath Rossner, Christine served as the council's president and its co-chair of social and media and philanthropy. However, she chose to give her senior class gift in appreciation of the Odyssey Scholarship Fund, which brought her here in the first place.
Thank you, Divya. And as it turns out, many of our classmates shared our desire to give back. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Alec Visoso, and I am thrilled to announce that this year, 272 students from the class of 2025 donated a total of $12,923. and 26 cents to support clubs, athletics, experiences, financial aid, programs, and departments here at this university. On behalf of this class, we're grateful and privileged to be presenting this check to Dean Hale. Thank you.
Thank you to the members of the Class of 2025 Class Gift Committee. Now, I invite Dean Hale back to the podium to introduce the Llewellyn John and Harriet Manchester Quantrell Awards for Excellence in Undergraduate Teaching, as well as the Hugo Sonnenschein Medal. Please welcome Dean Hale.
The Llewellyn John and Harriet Manchester Quantrell Awards for Excellence in Undergraduate Teaching are the oldest collegiate teaching awards in the United States. The awards were established in 1937 by Ernest Quantrell, an alumnus of the university, in memory of his parents. Since 1938, more than 300 Chicago faculty members have received the Quantrell Awards, and the awards have become and continue to be one of the highest honors the University of Chicago can bestow on members of our faculty who are not only excel in their programs of research, but also play a distinguished role in the curriculum. Based on nominations by undergraduates, the Quantrell Awards are testaments to the pedagogical excellence and dedicated mentorship that our faculty offer their students through collegiate education. Today, we honor our great faculty who, as teachers, instill in our students the love for knowledge Through their teachings, they inspire and guide them to be more enlightened and effective leaders of their communities and the world. On behalf of the University of Chicago, I am delighted to present the winners of the 2025 Llewellyn John and Harriet Manchester Quantrell Award for Excellence in Undergraduate Teaching.
Hi, I'm Hank Hoffman. I'm the Liu Family Chair of the Department of Computer Science, and I have the honor of presenting today's first Quantrell Award winner. David Cash has shown exceptional dedication to teaching and mentoring undergraduates in the classroom and beyond during his 7 years of appointment at the University of Chicago. He's a pioneer in cryptography and computer security systems. He teaches college courses that are unique and inspirational, training students in cutting-edge science and technology, highlighting both the current state of the field and areas where future innovations are required. This connection goes well beyond the classroom and into his research work with our undergraduates as well. As noted among comments from his numerous nominators, one student wrote, "Many experts struggle to teach about the subjects they are most passionate about because they forget that the things they find obvious and self-explanatory may not be so for their students. This was not the case for Professor Cash." Another stated that David Cash successfully molds the minds of computer science students who have not touched the theoretical aspects of computer science, where his in-depth knowledge in the field allows students to ask arbitrary questions and receive a concise, accurate, and impactful response. Dean Hale, I have the honor to present David Cash for the Llewellyn John and Harriet Manchester Quantrell Award for Excellence in Undergraduate Teaching.
David Cash is honored by his students and colleagues for his exemplary teaching and research mentorship of undergraduates in the field of cybersecurity. On behalf of the University of Chicago, I now confer upon David Cash the Llewellyn John and Harriet Manchester Quantrell Award for Excellence in Undergraduate Teaching.
Hi, I'm Eric Slaughter, Deputy Dean of Arts and Humanities and Master of the Humanities Collegiate Division. The next recipient of the Llewellyn John and Harriet Manchester Quantrell Award for Excellence in Undergraduate Teaching is unable to be here due to a prior international engagement. I have the honor of presenting the recipient in absentia. Lenore Grenoble is a distinguished scholar whose profound contributions to the study of language, contact, and shift in indigenous settings have illuminated critical linguistic dynamics globally, including in the Arctic. She employs an empirically driven approach to examine language interactions in diverse multilingual environments, shedding light on the intricate interplay between linguistic, social, and cognitive factors in linguistic communities. Her groundbreaking research addresses the complex impacts of urbanization and climate change on language vitality, while also pioneering efforts in language revitalization and sustainable linguistic practices. Dean Hale, I have the honor to present Lenore A. Grenoble for the Llewellyn John and Harriet Manchester Quantrell Award for Excellence in Undergraduate Teaching.
Through her dedicated teaching and passion for scholarship, Lenore Grenoble has instilled in her students a profound appreciation for an empirically driven approach to examine language interactions in diverse multilingual settings, shedding light on the intricate interplay between linguistics, social and cognitive factors in linguistic communities around the globe. On behalf of the University of Chicago, I confer upon Lenore Grenoble the Llewellyn John and Harriet Manchester Quantrell Award for Excellence in Undergraduate Teaching.
Hi, I'm Adrian Johns. I'm a history professor and chair of the Department of History here at the University of Chicago, and I have the honor of presenting today's third Quantrell Award winner. Eleonora Gilbert is a highly original historian who studies all aspects of culture in Russia and its environs in the modern era. In work such as her multiple award-winning book, To See Paris and Die, she has revealed the many ways in which the Soviet Union engaged in a broad-based and profoundly consequential process of translation during the Cold War, often embracing artistically a West that it rejected politically. That sensitivity to culture in translation also stands out in her pedagogy. Teaching across the Soviet and post-Soviet worlds, she inspires students from diverse backgrounds to recognize the vital relationships that have defined our many histories. Students praise her for her dedication and her ability to connect them with aspects of Eastern Europe that might otherwise remain beyond reach. Dean Hale, I have the honor to present Eleanor Gilbert for the Llewellyn John and Harriet Manchester Quantrell Award for Excellence in Undergraduate Teaching.
Eleanor Gilbert brings extraordinary dedication to her teaching of Soviet and post-Soviet history, engaging with students from a variety of backgrounds to help them understand some of the most important cultural and political currents of the age. Her teaching and mentorship inspires them not only to produce original and creative work, but also to thrive as members of our scholarly community. Eleanor Gilbert, on behalf of the University of Chicago, I now confer upon you the Llewellyn John and Harriet Manchester Quantrell Award for Excellence in Undergraduate Teaching.
Hello, I'm Stefano Lesina, and I have the honor of presenting today's fourth Quantrell Award winner. Katrin Pfister research spans diverse scales of biological organization, from microbial communities in kelp forest to entire biomes impacted by climate change. This unparalleled expertise and their genuine enthusiasm for the discipline translates directly into the classroom. Her ecology and conservation course brings the subject to life through engaging case studies that ground theoretical concepts, complemented by field trips offering practical real-world application. Students consistently praise her clarity, enthusiasm, and the compelling sense of excitement and urgency she conveys. They highlight that the field trips were instrumental in fostering the strongest camaraderie of any class I've ever had, and that Dr. Pfister brings a lot of passion and knowledge to the topic that is engaging and creates an enthusiastic atmosphere. Dean Hale, I have the honor to present Katrin A. Pfister for the Llewellyn John and Harriet Manchester Quantrell Award for Excellence in Undergraduate Teaching.
Katrin Pfister's deep knowledge and enthusiasm makes her courses, touching on some of humanity's most pressing challenges, both exhilarating and inspiring for students, using case studies and field trips to bring the subject to life. On behalf of the University of Chicago, I now confer upon Katrin Pfister the Llewellyn John and Harriet Manchester Quantrell Award for Excellence in Undergraduate Teaching. It is my pleasure now to present the Hugo F. Sonnenschein Medal of Excellence to an outstanding graduating senior. The Hugo F. Sonnenschein Medal of Excellence is the highest honor bestowed upon undergraduates in the college. It is named in memory of the university's 11th president, a visionary leader who transformational plans expanded the college and provided its students with opportunities for growth that enabled them to know and serve the world. His imaginative foresight led to the evolution of the college and its capacity to reinforce the enduring values of UChicago. With this award, we recognize one graduating student whose character and actions embody the college's foundational commitment to the direct and active betterment of society. This year's recipient is Sophie Tedesco. As a university and community leader, Sophie has demonstrated a profound dedication to addressing inequality and advocating for marginalized communities. In her efforts to foster community and connection with people who have been incarcerated, she has gone above and beyond to create a comprehensive picture of the landscape behind bars and critically assess the role that programming plays in carceral power. Sophie's record in the college is equally remarkable. As a leader on the university's cross-country and track teams, she initiated conversations in programming dedicated to fostering inclusivity. Her extraordinary academic trajectory has enabled her to focus on studies and research on evaluating the availability and accessibility of programming in Illinois' carceral facilities. Sophie, on behalf of the college, I bestow upon you the 2025 Hugo F. Sonnenschein Medal of Excellence in recognition of your ambition for others, your leadership, and your public service.
Sophie, you have something stuck to your dress.
Thank you, Dean Hale, and congratulations to our Quantrell and Sonnenschein Award winners. Next, I would like to welcome to the podium Lauren Henry, Executive Director of Alumni Engagement and Annual Giving.
Thank you so much. I am thrilled to be here with all of you to celebrate the class of 2025. To start, I just want to congratulate all of you, the class of 2025. You're now alumni, or tomorrow you'll be alumni, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to the global alumni community. Whether you are staying in Chicago, staying here in Hyde Park, jetting off to new opportunities around the world, please remember this university will always be your intellectual home. And there are more than 200,000 alumni, myself included, around the world waiting to introduce you to the alumni community, to bring the university to you wherever you go, and to welcome you home to events like your first reunion on May 1st, 2026. So with that, it is absolutely my privilege to recognize this year's Howell Murray Award recipients. The Howell Murray Award is one of the college's highest honors, recognizing extraordinary efforts to strengthen and enhance the university community. I promised this group at the Student Leadership Awards about a month ago that I would be here on class day with their medals, and I am delivering. The moment has come, and my amazing colleague, Emma, is joining me. She was part of the committee who selected these recipients, and so she is gonna actually have the honor of giving you the medal. So as I call your name, please come forward to receive your medal. Here we go. Odenayo Aknade. Amadis Davis. Raquel Dos Santos. Christina Gao. Jacob Gillian. Dakota Harris. Milena Heineman. Dasha Kamaza. Danielle Lopez. I know Danielle is not with us today. Ava McCord. Jesseline Wen. Raghav Pardasani. Rihanna Pittock. Jennifer Spinolio. Caden Traversari. And Georgia Waluka. I will just say to close, on behalf of our entire alumni community, congratulations again to all of the honorees and to the class of 2025.
Thank you, Lauren, and congratulations to all of the Howell Murray winners. We will now hear from our Class Day 2025 keynote speaker. David Axelrod graduated from the college in 1976. While best known as a respected American political strategist and commentator, and the former chief strategist and senior advisor to President Barack Obama, many of us know him well as the founding director of UChicago's Nonpartisan Institute of Politics. A former political writer for the Chicago Tribune, David produced media strategy and advertising for 150 campaigns across the country. Please welcome David Axelrod.
They didn't tell me I had to follow those guys. What a beautiful, beautiful day in every way. And as a graduate of the class of 76, I'm honored to be standing here today. Actually, as a graduate of the class of 76, I'm honored to be standing anywhere today. But I'm also humbled. I'm truly, truly humbled to be invited to participate in what I know is such a joyous and exciting and bittersweet rite of passage, not just for you students, but for your families as well. A weekend on which my words should and probably will be the least memorable part. But I want you to know this is an emotional day for those of us at the college as well. You arrived here 4 years ago as teenagers, and some of you were a bit unsure of yourselves. Some of you were way too sure of yourselves. You know who you are, or you should by now if you don't. We taught and we mentored and we watched you grow and thrive, but truth be told, it wasn't a one-way street. You challenged us and you tested us, a bit irritating at times, but at the end of the day, enriched us as well and opened our eyes. You made us love you, and now in a blink of an eye, you are leaving us, which is necessary, I know, but it seems a bit unfair. What about our needs? I know you'll leave this campus with great and lasting memories. I can tell you that it has been central to my life. Here I met my wife, Susan, who's with us today. A hero not just for enduring 45 years with me, but because of her trailblazing work to advance the global search for cures to the epilepsy that roiled our daughter Lauren's life. We were married right over there in Bond Chapel. Yeah. Beautiful place if you haven't seen it. Susan's father, Dr. Richard Landau, spent his entire distinguished career on the medical faculty here, and I tell you with great pride that when he died at the age of 99, that flag across from Levy Hall was lowered to half-mast in honor of his contributions. And here, after my own career in journalism and campaigns and government, I was thrilled to return to launch the Nonpartisan Institute of Politics, an experience as rewarding as any I've ever known. And I know that somewhere here, the small but mighty staff of the Institute of Politics is sitting. See how mighty they are? And I just want to tell them how proud I am of them for the miracles they pull off every single day to make that program the magic that it is. So thank you so much. But thinking back to my own years as a student, I'm actually more than honored and humbled to be here. I'm also a little surprised. And I think it's safe to say were my professors here, may they rest in peace, they would be more like astonished. Because mine was not a stellar academic career. You saw those awards up here. I didn't get within a mile of that table when I was a student here. Looking back at those years, I was exposed to a treasure trove of important, stimulating subjects and ideas. I learned the habits of critical thinking, but I didn't take the time to fully digest or appreciate them. Instead, as someone who grew up in the 1960s, called to politics and news by the idealism and activism and profound struggles of that era, my attention was drawn more to the city than to the college. Chicago itself was the greatest attraction. It was a time of racial, cultural, and generational divisions even greater than today's. There was rioting in the streets of our cities, the assassination of our leaders, a deeply unpopular war halfway across the world that would claim 50,000 American lives, and a government that lied to us about it. It felt as if things were coming apart, and Chicago, where ghettos had burned and baton-wielding, police-battered anti-war protesters at the Democratic National Convention, it was right in the middle of it. Now, the college at that time was much more inward and monastic, focused squarely on the life of the mind. But I came to Chicago because I was focused on the life of the world. And since there was no Institute of Politics then, I created my own pathways to experience it as a fledgling journalist. Problem was, I wound up spending a lot more time experiencing than studying, more hours covering the news and political events than hitting the books at Regenstein. And all this caught up with me in my final quarter. In order to graduate with my class, I had to finish the work from 5 previous courses and take 4 new ones. And I had to graduate because 2 days later I was scheduled to begin an internship at the Chicago Tribune that I hoped would lead to a job. I worked 24/7 to get it all done, and I thought I had. But the day the final grades were due, I got a message from the registrar. Mr. Axelrod, it appears you never fulfilled your freshman swimming requirement. This really happened, folks. If you don't pass a swim test by 3 p.m. today, you won't be graduating with your class. So clock ticking, I raced over to Bartlett Gym and I found a coach to give me the test. I wasn't a particularly good swimmer, and I told him, look, if I start to drown, just let me go. Because I didn't want to have to tell my friends and family and the Chicago Tribune that I didn't graduate because I failed the freshman swimming test. And he must have heard me because he generously interpreted my 3 variations of the dog paddle as the mandatory separate strokes the test required. And he passed me. I still remember staggering back to these quads on which you sit today and collapsing under a tree. If you give me long enough, I could probably identify it. Depleted but triumphant. Martin Luther King famously said, the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends toward justice. And one small reflection of this is today, 49 years later, the college no longer has a freshman swimming requirement. That is the applause of grateful hydrophobic students. Now let me talk about that arc of Dr. King's. You graduate at another noisy, fractious time in our history, in which the very idea of democracy, what it means and what it demands, are in question as much as any time since my days as a student. Exponential leaps in science and technology offer us hope for discoveries that can help stem hunger, disease, and maybe even climate change. And the astonishing path of technological progress America has led has spurred enormous growth and wealth over the past 40 years. But that progress also has divided us between people and communities who are well positioned to take advantage of it and those who are not. From where we meet today, you don't have to travel very far for evidence of this. Just to the north of us are gleaming corporate and financial headquarters and luxury condominiums. Just to the south are communities struggling mightily in the shadow of long-closed steel mills, which once supported a thriving middle class. Drive in any direction, and you'll find old industrial towns where longtime residents remember better days and their children leave in search of a better future. And with the advent of AI, these challenges, that divide, will only become more intense, as many jobs, including well-paying white-collar jobs, will soon become obsolete, more efficiently managed by machines than humans. These accelerating trends are straining societies and democracies as more people come to believe that they've been dealt out of the game, that their voices and concerns are overwhelmed by the power of elites and money and special interests. And let me tell you, social media hasn't helped. The folks who run these platforms have a powerful interest in keeping us online. And their insight is to incite, to keep us online by catering to our fears, our anger, and resentments, to shove us into silos in which our views are always affirmed but not always informed, to make us feel that those who disagree with us are all enemies and ignoramuses who want to destroy the country. All of this has created a caustic mix, easily exploitable by demagogues and malign actors who also see profit in our division. And it's helped produce another anxious era like the one in which I came of age, when our assumptions about our democracy and whether it can survive have come into question. But class of 25, the word another is important here. We're a country that has endured many periods of disruption and turbulence and doubt. A civil war, for God's sake. The Great Depression. We've been through some stuff. And it's really important to remember that. Next year, we'll mark the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence with picnics and parades and concerts and fireworks. But as we think about that occasion, what's more important to remember is just how speculative, how revolutionary this American experiment of self-governance was. The founders thought democracy, if it worked, would be far better than subservience to a mad king. But being students of human nature, they also had plenty of doubts about its viability. That's why they built elaborate systems of checks and balances, of freedom of speech and freedom of the press to make sure that people were informed, that government would be held accountable, and that no one branch of or leader would exercise monarchical power. When Benjamin Franklin was asked what kind of government the drafters of the Constitution had created, he answered, a republic, if you can keep it. It was an audacious bet. The fact that our democracy has survived for 250 turbulent years through all the trials we've endured is really the miraculous triumph of hope over cynicism. We've survived because in times of maximum stress, Americans, and particularly the young, took up the challenge, grabbed the wheel of history, and against all odds, helped steer us to a better place. That challenge now falls to you. There's no doubt that cynicism is having its day. And your lives have been bracketed by a devastating financial crisis and a brutal global pandemic that has exposed government at its both the best and the worst of government. And it's pretty tempting to watch the small, squalid, nasty nature of so much of our politics and want to avert your eyes and walk away. And believe me, that's exactly what those in power who find the constraints of democracy cumbersome and inconvenient are counting on. So I'm urging you to resist that impulse. I'm begging you to lean in. It's absolutely right. In fact, it's our responsibility as citizens to question and challenge a system that periodically cries out for renewal and real, even radical reform. And that's our history. Time and again, the people of this country, abolitionists and soldiers, muckrakers and suffragists and freedom riders, past classes of graduates of this university who sat in the very seats you're sitting in today. They claim their power as citizens, sometimes in our darkest and most dangerous hours, and took up the work of every generation to perfect our union. Their struggles and triumphs aren't just parables from the past, but a message for today and tomorrow. As we meet, there's no doubt we're facing profound questions that go right to the heart of who we are as Americans, about the rule of law and separation of powers, about freedom of speech and freedom of the press, about our role in the world and the future of universities and research institutions like this, which have driven so much of its progress. But related to it, we're also grappling with the dizzying and disruptive pace of technological change, the impacts of which are very much at the core of the disaffection many feel with politics and government. And yet, it seems so many of our politicians are locked in the pitched battle over whether the answers lie in the policies of the 20th century or the 19th. Well, you're the children of the 21st century. For you, relentless technological change has been the only constant. You're not intimidated by it, you embrace it, and boy, do we need you now. We need you not only to be vigilant in defense of fundamental constitutional principles, but to imagine and build a world in which we harness change for the greatest good rather than allowing it to harness us. The late Supreme Court Justice Louis Brandeis said, "The most important office in our democracy is the office of private citizen." Regardless of where you go from here or what you do, your voices, your votes, and your commitment to the life of the world will make the difference, unless you come to believe that they won't and walk away. I'm betting you won't. I'm betting on you. One of my political heroes, Robert F. Kennedy, Sr., I should add, died 57 years ago today of an assassin's bullet at the age of 42. So it seems particularly fitting on this occasion to remember his words. The future is not a gift, he told us, it's an achievement. I've come to know many of you and what you can and I'm sure will achieve. And the wonderful, nourishing gift you've given me is hope. And for that, I can't thank you enough, class of 25. Best of luck to you in all you do. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Thank you, David, for sharing those words of wisdom and inspiration with our graduating class. students, you converged in the college from a vast range of experiences with your own questions and curiosities. I know you have found wonderful friends and professors and ideas for your future. We're so proud of you and excited to see what you do in the coming years. We hope that you always will see the college as a home and its members and alums as your community. To close, I want to thank all of those who spoke and performed this afternoon. The Dirt Red Brass Band members are coming back to the stage now to send us off with style. And thanks to you all for coming this afternoon. I hope you'll join us this evening at the Museum of Science and Industry to continue the celebration of this remarkable class. Thank you.